Hello, this is Patrick Barisi. I'm the instructor for this class. And we're going to talk about health, the definition of health, and how it intersects with your personal life as a person, yourself, the people that you call your family, your biological family, as well as your logical or family of choice, and all the different communities with which you identify. Health is more than just the absence of disease. The World Health Organization in 1947 adopted these definitions, particularly the definition of health, kind of coming right out of the World Health Organization being a founding arm of the United Nations. The United Nations, of course, was a product of World War II, an event in which more than 20 million people died and more millions suffered injury and incarceration in internment camps and all sorts of terrible things. So the world was ready for peace, and they noticed and recognized that part of peace is to indeed be healthy. That definition of health basically transcends the definition that says if you're not sick, you're healthy. Because on any given day, you may have sniffles, you may have a little cold, but you feel fine socially. You feel actually close or supported by your family or your friends. And you may even feel connected spiritually. Other days, you don't feel so well mentally, but you're okay physically. So we realize it's a balancing act. This is just more evidence of the idea that you can do a lot more than just not be sick or dead, right? So if we make the line here between sick and dead, everything that is on this side is pretty low in terms of daily health and wellness. We can do better than that. And what's important about that is our health is dependent on a lot more than just our own behaviors. We are more than just if you think about all the different ways in which we are more than just the sum total of our own bodies, minds, physical experience. We're always interacting with other people, with institutions, with places that we work or don't work, whether or not we have a home or have a place to live or don't have a place to live, or share a place with other people, our family as it's defined. We might be in a family that has a mom and a dad and we're a kid, or we're one of the moms or one of the dads. There might be two dads, there might be two moms, you name it, right? We also talk about our culture and all the different places that we come from, our views on culture. So everything that makes us up is what determines our and influences our health. The sociological model of health and wellness, the social determinants of health make a huge. We're going to talk a lot more about social determinants and watch a few important films in this class. So I want to come back to that in a little bit. Population health, if you think about population, demographics, most important defining demographic for this course would be gender, right? We're going to find out in a little while that gender is more than just the biological sex. It's how we perceive ourselves and how we present ourselves in our world. Social determinants are very closely tied to health equity. So there's a lot of discussion right now about health equity, as well as other topics of racial equity, equity towards immigrant population. So much going on right now in our country and in the world. If we look at health equity from the bigger lens of how does the United States compare with other countries, we generally have greater health risks than individuals in other high-income countries. And if you look at one of the pages in your text, you're going to see the Health Olympics of 2014. There was no such event, but we listed last in terms of life expectancy. Life expectancy is often used as a proxy for how healthy is a population. I'm also including in this first unit a discussion and a look at how men's health varies across the United States. It's a pretty brief read, mostly made up of charts and maps, but we're going to see that the United States itself is not a homogeneous area, meaning it's all one thing. It's actually men's health, the health of men and the life expectancy of men varies not just all across the United States by race or ethnicity or income, but it also varies a lot by what part of the country you live in. Here's the Health Olympics, and as I said, we come in 35th. No gold medal for the USA. Gold medal would go to Japan, Switzerland would take the silver, and Australia would get the bronze medal. We get a blooper medal. Health is not, health and health outcomes, being healthy in the United States is not equally distributed across groups. There is a lot of literature, and some of it is cited in this chapter, where the health improvements that are enjoyed by people, especially the ones that are biomedical, meaning that they're based in biology and medicine, are not shared equally. As we understand ethnicity as a sense of identity or race as sort of as, actually, if you look more closely on chapter and definition of race, you'll see that race is really a concept that has been debunked. So this idea that people are different because they inherit genes which actually are attached to specific races, like that there's a gene for black and there's a gene for Caucasian and there's a gene for Asian or a gene for Latinx or Hispanic. That's not true. The truth is that all the genes that make up the differences that are considered to be racial are the expressions of physical characteristics, and that darker skin means less privilege in the United States, as well as being a male or being a female. We also know that where we grew up and how much money we make, and not just our money, but our wealth. How much money do we have in the family, which reflects our socioeconomic status, will also make a difference. There's also differences by age. We're going to see that different age groups suffer from different health problems. Younger men tend to have higher rates of homicide and vehicular death. As you get older, you're going to see more people dying from other causes such as cardiovascular disease, etc. Public health. I have a degree in public health. My degree is called an MPH. You probably saw it on my cards, or not my. Oh, that's an interesting M. Masters of Public Health, University of South Carolina. I won't tell you when I got it, but basically it works in the larger, all the different arenas. Community health is our local health. And it could be as local as, let's say, a neighborhood in the Mission District, or it could be as local as a community of identity. So it could be transgender folks living in San Francisco, or African American women living in the Tenderloin. Last thing is, we do have goals in the United States, and these started in the 80s, the Healthy People Initiative. And each year, I would say just every decade or so, around about this time, this is 2019, I would assume that the Healthy People goals for 2030 have already been published. But if you look at this list, it shows what are the most important health indicators, priority public health issues. And what's interesting about this, and this isn't a coincidence, is that a lot of this overlaps with the topics in our course. Tobacco, nutrition, physical activity, and obesity, how much men and women support each other to have good reproductive health and the health of children? How much does substance abuse and use play a role? Reproductive and sexual health, mental health, injury and violence, climate change, environmental quality, climate change being a huge one right now, and so on. We're going to wrap this part up for now and come back with more on chapter 1 in a little bit.